They said sleep is a gift. The body's reset, the mind's retreat, and yet some sought to steal it, to peel back the hours and leave only the bones of consciousness behind. Welcome to MindVeil, where reality bends and nightmares linger just long enough to whisper back. The year was unclear. History remembers it as the late 1940s, a time when smoke still rose from crumbled cities, and ambition was a fire with no conscience. A group of Soviet researchers, hidden behind concrete and ideology, claimed to have developed a gas that would render sleep obsolete. A stimulant so potent, soldiers could fight for 30 days straight without the burden of dreams, without the crutch of rest. A theory tested not on volunteers but on prisoners, forgotten names locked behind metal and secrets. 5 men were chosen, though chosen may not be the word. Offered freedom if they lasted 30 sleepless nights. They stepped into a sealed room with no windows, no clocks, no sunrise, dried food, running water, no bedding, no escape. Microphones captured every word. Cameras watched shadows that never sat still. And then the gas. It hissed in like a whisper you're not meant to hear. And with it, the world outside faded into irrelevance. The first 3 days were calm. Laughter echoed against the steel walls. Conversations danced between memories and made up futures. But sleep is a tether to sanity. And by day 4, the tether began to fray. They spoke less, then more. But to people who weren't there, they stared into corners like they owed them something. Paranoia planted itself quietly and bloomed like a flower no one had watered. Whispers filled the microphones, not just about the gas, but about each other. Eyes darted, voices trembled, and on day 5, one man laughed so hard he screamed until his voice broke into a whimper no human should make. Then silence. Total, unnerving silence. Yet the oxygen sensor said 5 men still breathed. They had promised to stay hands-off, to let the experiment run its course. But by day 10, the silence wasn't data anymore. It was dread. When they spoke into the chamber, commanding them to lie down for safety, a voice replied, "We no longer want to be freed." A sentence delivered with calm precision, as if spoken not by the man, but by something that had replaced him. On day 15, they opened the door, and what waited behind it was not madness, but something colder. One man was no longer alive. The others stood in strange positions, flesh marked not by violence, but by precision, as if they had been rearranging themselves. The gas was gone, and they wept not for the dead, but for the air they could no longer inhale. "Put it back," they begged. "We need it." They didn't just miss the stimulant. They missed what they had become. Soldiers were sent in, but not all came back. Some were injured. Some lost more than limbs. Some took their own lives later, haunted not by what they saw, but by what they heard. laughter, from men who no longer should have had lips to laugh with. They tried to sedate the survivors. They tried to stitch torn skin, sew shut open truths. But one of them whispered with cracked lips, "Keep cutting," and smiled. Desperation won. They returned the gas, and the men calmed, as if a storm had ended inside them, or perhaps just resumed beneath the surface. Science has no record of this. No chamber, no gas, no experiment. Only a story written anonymously on a website of horror. No one knows the author. No one remembers the day it was first told. And yet, it survives. It's retold, reshared, believed, like a ghost story that refuses to admit it's fiction. Maybe it never happened. Maybe no gas ever flowed, no screams ever echoed. Maybe it's just a story. But then again, why does it feel like we've lived it? Why do you feel tired even now? Why are your nights restless, your thoughts scattered? Why do you stare at the screen, wondering if someone is watching back? Sleep, after all, is fragile, and stories are contagious. If this story stirred something inside you, a memory that never was, a fear you can't quite name, then you're not alone. Tap like, so the algorithm knows you're still awake. Subscribe, so you don't miss the next descent into the unknown. And click the link in the description to uncover more mysteries that live beneath the surface. This has been MindVeil, where myths are stitched from memory and truth hides beneath layers of shadow. Sleep well if you can.